Welcome to Baffling Cyclops. I'm David.
And I'm Pepper Proxy.
Pepper Proxy, you're doing with...
Oh, wait, yeah.
You're going with both names
I
today.
did my second name. Yeah, I'm today I'm Pepper Proxy.
I like it.
Thank you.
I thought today we could start off by talking about your relationship with squirrels.
It's complicated.
It is a complicated relationship. You like squirrels abstractly,
They're all right.
but you don't necessarily want squirrels near you.
Yeah, no, I don't. I don't. They kind of creep me out.
And I remember once you and I were walking in downtown Seattle.
Oh, no.
And I just grabbed you and pulled you off to the side. And I looked at you and you had fire in your eyes because you were going to be so mad at me. And I said...
Well, the way it was, can I just say, you aggressive. We were just walking downtown because we used to go downtown a lot. Like every weekend we'd walk down there. And we were just walking and we were like having good conversation. Like there wasn't anything like strange happening, or our dynamic was really good. And you aggressively almost tackled me.
I think you've overstated it a little bit.
But it was aggressive.
I grabbed you by the arms and moved you over. And
Yes.
then just as you were about to open your mouth, I pointed and said, "Look." And behind you, there was a guy in a safari outfit, like Jack Hanna, except it was
poor
like...
man's Jack Hanna.
It was like Jack Hanna if he never did his laundry. If he had like gone a month in the monkey cage without washing his safari outfit.
Yeah.
With a squirrel on a leash on his shoulder. And he was smiling and trying to get people to notice the squirrel.
Yeah, and had you not pulled me out of the way aggressively, we would have been inches. I would have been inches from that GD squirrel.
And you looked at me and the fire dimmed in your eyes and you said, "Thank you."
I did. I think I said, "Thank you. I love you so much."
Right. But now that we feed the birds in front of the house, the squirrels at our house have started to love you.
Well, they do. I wouldn't say love me. I just think they see me as maybe a food source.
And twice we've caught it on video of a squirrel chasing you.
Oh, yeah, because we have those Arlo cameras. The squirrels are not shy.
No.
And even if you'll put a peanut down or some peanuts down for the blues and the crows, the squirrels aren't as bright. In my opinion, I don't want to offend anybody, but I just don't think squirrels are as bright as crows and blue jays. Or scrub jays and stellar jays, excuse me. I need to use the right terms. So the squirrels will, even if there's like a little pile of peanuts 10 feet away, they will come charging towards me as if they want to run up the leg of my jeans.
And sit on your shoulder like your safari man.
I know. Oh, yes.
That's what they would like,
I think so.
They would like to be there whispering in your ear, "Pepper, I want a peanut."
Give me a peanut. Well, can I just tell you, though, I have had a shift about squirrels.
Okay.
From that horrific experience downtown Seattle years and years ago. Because I wouldn't say the H word, but I didn't like squirrels. I didn't like birds. And I still don't really like raccoons. But when we started feeding the crows, our neighbor across the street, our friend Henry, who we spoke about on, I think, our last podcast, he reached his hand out to me and said, give me some of those peanuts. And so I did, and I'm like, I'm surprised that Henry likes to eat peanuts. It just doesn't seem like a snack for him. And I learned later that Henry had a little squirrel that he was feeding the peanuts to, and he named that squirrel Buddy.
So now we call all the squirrels Buddy.
Every squirrel is named Buddy. And might I say, Dee was not happy with that when she found out about it.
And all of the squirrels around here are named Buddy, and all of them approach people and ask for a peanut with their cold, dead eyes. I mean, their warm squirrel lovingness.
But can I say that the buddies in our yard and around us, I've just, I don't love them like I love a crow, but I understand, like, to each their own. Well, but the bait, like, okay, so our buddies had families, and I think that because they have a readily available food source, their lives are a little bit easier than maybe some other buddies in the wild. So I think they're pretty comfortable. And I would suspect if buddies are comfortable, then they procreate much easier.
Well, this leads into my next topic.
Okay.
So easily, which is your relationship with squirrels reminded me of people that have described going into a monkey habitat.
Really?
Because you remember when the housewives went to an elephant habitat? Baby elephants?
Oh, the housewives in Dallas. Oh my God, you guys.
So
Dallas housewives.
A couple people I know, including Shauna, have gone to monkey habitats, which is like a forested area with like 1,400 monkeys in a small area.
Out.
Now, she said while she was there, and other people have told me similar things, the monkeys just stare at your hands the whole time, because when you go in, you buy bananas and other foods. Oh. And so you hand out the food, and that's actually how the monkeys get fed, is the tourists come.
So they're looking for bananas in your pants. So they're looking for bananas.
But where did the pants come from?
Well, you have to hide them. You can't just have bananas. Well, you gotta hide them in your pants.
Well, they all... Okay. But they go after...
Am I wrong?
No. You shove all the bananas in your pants, and then you go there, and then you let the monkeys frisk you for bananas.
That's not for me.
So, no, you go there, and they steal purses and eyeglasses as well. So
monkeys are smart.
Oh, yeah. And so Shauna said you're walking through the forest, and you hear just random shouts of people as a monkey stole something of theirs and took it away.
Wait, was this in the United States?
This is in Bali.
Oh, okay. I thought so.
But because of the pandemic, there are no tourists.
Oh, so no.
So
How are they getting their bananas?
But I don't know specifically about that one. This is about the monkeys in Thailand and India. They just live in the cities.
Yeah.
Because they're holy.
Yeah.
And they live off the food that people have in the city, and when the restaurants are open and there's tourists, there's more food, so they actually reproduce much more quickly than they do in the wild. But in India, they've had constant problems with monkey attacks.
Okay, are they looking for like bananas in pants?
Yes, with their teeth, because they hit 1,000 monkey bites a day are reported in India.
Oh, wait a minute though. Can't monkeys spread disease like that? Catch That Monkey movie starring Dustin Hoffman?
I think they can. Well, it's possible, but they also killed the deputy mayor of New Delhi. Was killed by monkeys. Yeah, he was went out on his balcony with some breakfast, and was
hungry.
Wrestling with monkeys, and he fell off his balcony. Oh. Thankfully, all the monkeys were fine.
Yeah, that's good. Wow.
But right now, though, the monkeys who usually are in family type groups, there's so much less food in the cities now that they've started going up to gangs and armies. So there's a city in Thailand that actually has a monkey temple in the middle of the city, which is like this giant stone structure for monkeys to live in.
Okay.
And the monkeys...
And they're free to come and go.
Yeah.
Okay.
They're banded together, and they're holy, so they can't do anything to them. And they're trying to control the population, but obviously they don't want to hurt the monkeys. But the monkeys have started getting more aggressive.
Can they, put some birth control in their bananas? In Thailand, that might fly. But in India, since it's they worship Hanuman,
the monkey god, they don't want to hurt a monkey any more than they want to hurt a cow. And so even sterilizing them by some people is considered cruel. And others it's considered humane. It's kind of a debatable point.
I'm not saying clip them. I'm just saying pop a couple, what are the birth control pills called? I don't know.
I think
Depravova or
wow.
I could be wrong. I don't know.
Well, I was going to say the monkeys at the temple, though, have started throwing out the weaker monkeys. Just throwing them out. And so there was a newspaper article about this company across the street that repairs cars has started taking in some of the monkeys that get cast out.
Oh, no. The marginalized monkey.
The marginalized monkeys. And they do things like hang on to the backs of the employees as they're working, and they're like sleeping on the counter. And but the monkey gangs, they describe a battle between two monkey armies over an open canister of yogurt in the road.
Oh, no, that's not good. Wait, so are monkeys are primates. Mm-hmm. Are they called simians?
Mm-hmm. These are called macaque monkeys.
Okay.
These particular kind of monkeys are macaques.
Okay.
And the macaques are going crazy.
Well, the reason why I was talking about the squirrels being prolific in their procreation in our neighborhood is because, well, I'm just kind of on the fence with my tolerance of squirrels. Mm-hmm. Just yesterday, we saw two, I would call them toddlers. They're not babies, and they're not like tweens yet. But they're like toddler squirrels. They're the cutest flippin' things.
Yeah.
Because their little tails are bigger than their little bodies. And their bodies are chubby because they've been eating a lot of nuts.
Where did all those nuts come from?
I don't know. Maybe we should ship some of our nuts over to... Where'd you say this was? India or Thailand?
Thailand is where I'm specifically...
Yeah, maybe we should send them some nuts.
Every year on November 29th, they have what they call the Monkey Buffet Festival.
Okay, that sounds like it could be bad.
They make a giant tables with spreads of food and drink for monkeys.
Oh, but buffets are filthy.
Monkeys are not exactly tidy. There's so many stories about monkeys pooing in their hand and throwing it at people.
Well, do they?
I don't think they wash their hands before they go to the monkey buffet.
I don't want to hear about the monkey throwing poo, but do they all use the same tongs?
I don't think there are tongs. There are no tongs at the monkey buffet.
Oh. That's not good.
But there's not so few COVID cases in Thailand that they're actually going to let the Monkey Buffet Festival go forward this year.
Okay. Well, monkeys can't get COVID-19, can they?
Not yet, no. So, but anyway, I thought it was interesting, and I thought because I think monkeys forming into armies is the prequel to the Planet of the Apes movies.
Right. Yeah, you're right.
And so the fact that they're competing with humans for food and other monkeys and casting out the weak one makes me think that they're trying to build a strong monkey army to move forward. While we're weak, we're weakened by COVID.
So let me ask you this question. Let's say we had monkeys here in the Central District in Seattle, and they're just roaming around.
Right.
Would we be carrying bundles of bananas in our pants to feed them?
I don't know.
I think we would.
Well, that was my question to you.
I think I could be the queen of the monkeys.
You think you'd be like Pepper Proxy, queen of the macaques?
I would hope that would be a different type of monkey.
You don't like the macaques?
I think I'd like a smaller monkey.
Okay, they're pretty small, though.
I want monkeys that hang on to the pencils.
Oh, you want the little teacup monkeys?
Whatever. I saw a picture of, I don't know if it was photoshopped or not, but it was a little bitty monkey with a curly tail. And I could be totally exaggerating, but in my mind palace, this little bitty monkey was holding onto a pencil.
Yeah.
On the eraser on the end of a pencil, number 2.
How many monkeys can dance on the end of a pencil?
Now, if those were in our neighborhood,
you'd be all over that.
I think I would.
Well, you can tell why. When I read the article and they said there was a monkey buffet, They were two disparate things that are both
Yeah.
things that play in your subconscious mind. So it reminded me of you.
And they don't play positively in my subconscious mind.
Buffet.
Well, I have a question.
Yes,
Do you remember when we met?
I do remember when we met.
What's the one big takeaway from the day we met?
The day we met, I was working at the library. I was working at the checkout part of the library. Most of the time when I worked at the library, I was an AV person.
So cool.
I was in charge of the AV equipment, but I happened to be checking people out. It was very crowded, and people had to wait in line a long time. And you approached with To Sir With Love on video.
But do you remember that day, or do you remember the day after?
I remember the day, well, it was the day after? Yeah, the day
I
after.
don't think you remember the day we met.
It's just I remember you telling me about.
Yeah, I think that's the case. But the day that you remember
is the day you came up and asked me out.
Yeah, because you're cute.
When I was working in the AV part of the library.
You were the AV part of the library. And, David Wall, you were... I didn't know how old you were, and you have a very baby face to begin with, but I knew you had to be at least 18 to work at the library. So after you checked out To Sir With Love for me, I came back. I first got dolled up and put makeup on and a vest and orange shorts.
You're missing one thing you forgot.
What?
You ran reconnaissance on me.
I sure did, because... So when I checked out To Sir With Love, which was an old-fashioned movie at the time, like it was not a modern movie, but I really liked that song by Lulu, and I liked the star of the movie. So you said something about it, and you knew the movie, and Sidney Poitier. I have a hard time saying his name, but I loved him. And so I was impressed with the fact that you had such a deep voice and that you knew the movie and you laughed at my joke.
So it was because I laughed at one of your jokes.
And you were so nice. Like, you were nice and you were smart. I knew you were smart. I could tell you were smart. And you were, you're pretty good looking too, so that didn't hurt.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, so my ex worked at the library as a page, and we were on pretty friendly terms. And so I asked him about you and what he knew about the very, very tall, skinny man with the long hair that worked in the AV department.
The coolest.
So cool.
You're like,
in the Mr. Bubble t-shirt.
Who is that cool guy?
Yeah.
Said. Well, and the AV department at the time where I worked, we had VCRs hooked up to television sets, which people were allowed to watch for only a short period of time to see if they wanted to check a video out. They weren't allowed to sit there and check out. But
because that was it was glass enclosed. It was a totally different section of the AV department.
And a lot of the people that came in to watch videos were homeless.
Yes.
And so behind me...
All of them were.
Behind me while you...
no shade to people without homes, but yeah.
But behind me while you were asking me out, there were a bank of homeless men.
All watching. I swear to God, 2 of them got up and came and stood next to your desk, which it was hard enough to come and ask you out.
Right.
Let alone with a big audience.
Right. And after you left, they applauded. And that is true. There was much good for you. And yeah, she's cute. I'm like, yeah, she is cute.
Well, I was cute because, man, I put on my esprit de corps linen vest that was sheer in the back and these little orange denim shorts that were like oversized, because at that time, like, the boyfriend style was kind of popular, or at least I thought it was, or I was trying to make it popular. So I had them cinched. They were like paper bag. And I had to get all ready to come to the library to ask you out on a date.
Right. And obviously I said yes.
You did, and then we got married.
Just like that.
Well, we went on a date. You didn't even kiss me on our first date. We held hands. And we went to a weird jazz club down on High Street.
Yeah.
The other thing that was really cute about that is we each had a beer. I think I drank more at that time than you did. And after you drank the beer, and we were kind of like, I don't think either one of us liked jazz. I suggested the place. I don't know why. And you said, well, I don't think I should drive right now after one beer, which just that melted I loved it so much. It melted my heart. So we decided to go for a walk, like around the block, and walk a little bit. And you held my hand.
Aww.
I really liked it.
So
that was our first date. You didn't even kiss me. And then on our second date, you moved in.
Yep. Just like that. I just was making the motion of wiping my hands, like, job done.
You got the job done, babe.
So when we did get married, we kind of decided to run off because we had no cash for a wedding.
Yeah, we were so poor, and I'm the youngest of a very large family, and then my mother had a lot of siblings as well, so I had a very large family, and you had some family members, extended family members that you didn't even know.
Yeah, and we were getting pressure to invite everybody.
And
so it would have had to have been like a big wedding, and we had
no money.
We
were so poor. Again, I was making like $10 an hour, and then doing my side hustle as Willoughby Weebach, like zero cash. And you were still in college, and
I looked up my notes about this because I'd written some stuff about it a couple years after our wedding. I had $160 in the bank, which I took all of it out for our wedding day.
And I don't even think I had that.
I know. So I took $160 out. And
where did 100 of it go?
To the person who did the wedding ceremony. And this is what's really hilarious. And we'll tell you how long ago this was. I looked up wedding ceremony in the Yellow Pages.
Yeah.
We had gotten our license.
You never even proposed to me. We just said.
Yeah.
I mean, we were together for like 2.5 years or almost 3 years. Because we met when you had just turned 21.
Yeah.
And we got married when you were, 23? So you didn't propose to me. There was none of that. It was just like,
it just kind of happened.
Let's get married. And then we said, or you said, well, yeah, we should get married on Halloween.
Right.
And that's what our plan was.
Yeah. And it just wasn't coming together.
No, because we couldn't find anybody who'd marry us on Halloween because they thought we were Satanists. Which we weren't. We just liked Halloween, and I had an unnatural love for pumpkins, but not like that guy who likes cars.
You did not have a physical relationship with pumpkins.
No, I just loved pumpkins.
But so we looked up in the Yellow Pages wedding ceremony, and there were a few people listed.
Yeah.
Called, woman answered the phone. She said she could do it that day.
Well, what was she in the Yellow Pages? This was back when you got a phone book.
Yeah, it was under wedding ceremony. So Unitarian Universalist.
Yeah.
Wedding ceremonies.
Which was just means all encompassing.
Yeah, and we drove over to the bad side of town. On the outskirts of Columbus, yes.
Was it on the far west? Or?
It was pretty far west.
I can't remember.
Yeah, it was like farmlands and then kind of a weird neighborhood.
My best friend was there. He was the maid of honor. He was also the nutcracker. So that him. And then our other best friend, who was our neighbor at the time.
Dave.
His name is Dave. He's Dave. You're David. He also lived across the hall from us.
Yeah.
And then we had another friend there.
We get out of the car, and it's just a suburban neighborhood on the outskirts of Columbus, which means the yard was massive. It was just like a huge yard. We walked up to the house.
And it was a ranch-style house.
Ranch-style house.
A mid-century ranch style.
Knocked on the door, went inside, and there was a whole wall. One wall was covered with religious paraphernalia, but not like crosses and that kind of stuff.
Wasn't there a lot of Native American
there was a lot of Native
imagery?
American stuff, but also a lot of spiritual kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And then the other wall was a giant poster of Bob Dylan and Bob Dylan records and memorabilia, just like all over the wall. And there was
also a giant like Olin Mills portrait of her teenage son.
Yeah. And
one of those giant ones.
Yeah. With that really great kind of creamy look to it, as if butter had been spread over the lens.
The faux oil painting.
Yeah, the faux oil paintings of the day. And we said, okay, well, we want to get married here today. And she said, well, would you like my son to perform a Bob Dylan song? He loves Bob Dylan. And we were like, no. Thank you.
Yes.
No.
Well, she asked if we brought our vows.
Right. And she said she usually met with people a few times for counseling and to get the vows together before the wedding.
Yeah.
And so she brought out kind of a vow sheet, and you grabbed it and just started crossing stuff out.
What? I probably did. That thought kind of makes me take pause because it was my wedding day, but I really definitely had opinions about how much reference to religion and traditional male-female roles and all of that. So none of that was going to be talked about at my wedding.
And when you said that to her, she's like, oh, you want the Native American ceremony.
Yes.
So she brought that out.
Yes. Is that the one we had?
That's the one we used.
I still have to cross some stuff out.
Yes, but that was more, I can't remember what it was, but more like Big Sky Spirit and that kind of, it was more generic sounding. Yeah. I don't even think it was a specific Native American tradition. I think it was just in the tradition of Native American.
Yeah, I think she made it up.
We went out in her backyard. Yeah.
And might I say, it was in October in Ohio, and it was a beautiful day.
Gorgeous.
It was a gorgeous day.
Yes. It was very warm, sunny, and the guy next door was mowing his lawn.
On a riding mower, and didn't take a break.
No, he saw the wedding ceremony being performed and decided, I'm continuing to mow.
Yeah.
And then a helicopter flew overhead.
Yeah, it felt like it was it right around when Sean Penn and Madonna got married?
It was like 5 years after, but we both referenced that at the time. We were like, oh yeah, this is crazy. So she shuffled us out of there though. Right after the ceremony, she was like, okay, I got other stuff I got to do.
She wanted you to pay cash, and it was $100.
Which I did. And so then we decided, let's go and get some food.
Well, first, in Ohio back then, there were drive-through liquor stores. And it was very similar to a car wash, like a car wash that you drive through. And in Ohio, you could only buy hard liquor at a liquor store, but these drive-thrus, you could buy beer and wine.
And they kind of existed if you were going to buy a lot. Because what you did is you told the guy what you wanted, popped your trunk.
And you drove through.
And then they just loaded it in, closed it, and you left.
Well, you had to pay, though.
Yeah, well, I mean, it was the original no-contact delivery.
It really was. Those should come back.
Yeah. So we stopped at one because we saw pumpkins.
Yes, and you and my maid of honor, well, actually, I think it was the maid of honor, is like, pull over! We have to get Pepper a pumpkin on her wedding day.
And so we pulled over.
And went to that drive-through, because they sold more than, it was like an In-N-Out or a convenience store.
We pulled over, we didn't drive through and say, load a pumpkin in.
No.
We stopped over to look at the pumpkins.
To pick it out.
And so we were there parked and looking at pumpkins when who comes up, pulls up in her car, is the lady that just married us.
She was going through the drive-through.
She had $100 in cash, and I think she handed the $100 to the guy and said, "Put as much beer in the back of my car as that $100 will buy," because we watched him just load racks of beer into the back of her car.
She sure did.
So she immediately took that $100 of cash and turned it into beer.
She loaded up the trunk. Do you think she shared that with her son?
I doubt it. I maybe. And then we went to Bob Evans.
Yeah, Bob Evans is like a kind of an all-day breakfast joint. I think it's mostly in the Midwest and maybe down south.
The full name, since you enjoy full names, was Bob Evans Down on the Farm family restaurant.
Yeah.
And
And we went there to eat like a brunch.
yeah, we just had like our friends brought us brunch, and we told the waitress we had just gotten married, and she brought us
A brownie.
A brownie with a candle in it.
It was so cute.
So that was kind of our
Well,
wedding
you want
day.
to know what, like, one of my favorite things besides being married to you and getting married that day? I had really cold feet. I don't know if you know this, but we probably did because we lived together. I was going to back out.
Yeah.
I didn't know if marriage was for me, but I really liked your last name.
Wait, so that was the...
No, I really
was
liked
that the
you.
tipping point, though?
It factored in.
So if my last name was like Smutberger, you'd have been like, "This marriage is not
Oh,
happening."
no, that would have been for sure. But yeah. Later that day, one of our friends, Tammy Schweinhagen, was having a party.
Mm-hmm.
And she was having a party anyway. But I love Tammy. Like, she's an awesome... we've kind of lost track. I think she's a jewelry designer now. But she was having a party. Her parties were epic, like the best parties ever. And she wanted to have a celebration also for us getting married. It perhaps was her birthday too. I can't remember. It was like just like this circle of multiple things happening. So we went to Tammy's house, Tammy's apartment for the party, and she had hired an Elvis Presley impersonator, and he was there, and he sang to us for our wedding.
He did. And I don't even remember what song it was. Do you
I don't remember. We have a picture with him.
I know. But I don't remember what Elvis song is our song.
No, what I remember more is that Tammy made baked bean, like she made, I don't know if she still makes them. Again, I haven't talked to her in like 15 years, but she made baked beans. They were so good. She put a lot of garlic in them. But I love that kind of party where it's like a bunch of people getting together, hanging out.
Elvis impersonator.
Elvis is there. And she just put on a giant pot of baked beans for people to eat.
Yeah. That was kind of our wedding day.
It was. It was perfect.
It was perfect.
Happy anniversary.
Happy anniversary. I love you very much.
I love you very much.
Don't forget to subscribe to this podcast. And to read our show notes, sign up for our newsletter at bafflingcyclops.com.